And then I will click it again. All right. Well, hello, and welcome back to If It Were Up to Us, the podcast where we have zero authority, no filter, and more Disney ideas than anyone asked for. I am your host, Chrissy. This is my co-host, Stephanie. Hey, Steph, how you doing today?
Hey, hey, I'm good, I'm good.
I know that you have been a little bit sick. Are you feeling better?
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I had a long, long week last week while you were off, sailing away. It was my daughter's recital week, so it was just hectic. But,
Mhm.
yeah, so that's probably how I got sick, being crammed into small spaces with small children.
Yeah. And
Um,
also drained from
yeah,
lack of
exactly.
sleep and yeah.
So,
Hmm.
but no, we're good, we're good. I'm just excited. I just want to hear all about your darn trip. Every last detail. Don't leave anything
I
out.
I can't wait to tell you about it. I know we were just talking about it, but I'm still swaying. We like w- I was not at all bothered by like the motion of the boat
No.
whatsoever. But getting off the ship, I just feel like the world is moving faster than I am moving. It's so weird. And then there are times that I'm fine, and then there are other times I feel like I move my head and am right back to just kind of like still swaying. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's wild. And
It is
I was
crazy.
telling Chrissy that so I went on my first cruise in November and I swayed
Uh-huh.
for a week. Like and it was
Yeah.
only a 3-day cruise. And I think maybe if we did longer ones, like five, six,
Mm.
7,
Hmm.
maybe, but probably not. It'd probably last even longer. But it is a weird sensation. Honestly, I think that bothered me more. Gosh, I hope my husband's not listening to this. Um, I
Right.
it bothered me more being on land and swaying than like feeling the ship movement.
Yeah.
Especially that like first, maybe not the first 2 days because I was really busy those first 2 days, but
Hmm.
like getting home, I was like, okay, this is annoying. Like trying to sit
Yeah.
at your computer, and you're
Yeah.
like, okay,
Hmm.
what's happening?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still have that like mom sway, that you just do when you're
Oh
standing
yeah.
still, right? And so, yeah, I feel like it's just compounded by that too, where you're just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, okay. But then I find myself like feeling better if I sway, like when I'm sitting down or, yeah, it's a weird feeling. But thankfully, nobody got seasick on our trip. Um, but
Yeah.
before we get into the recap, do we have any new news to talk about?
Um, there was something that kind of came out more recently. Thought I saw something. Hold on.
I feel like I
Uh,
was off the grid for so long. Off the grid, I mean, on a boat for 4 days,
honestly,
but
kind of same. Because where my daughter's dance recital is, we had to be there 3 nights. So Tuesday, Friday, and then Saturday.
mm-hmm.
There's no service. It's like in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, because I'm really close to Ohio border, and that's where we
Oh, uh-huh.
have it. Uh, and then you're down in like this stage that goes like down, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah.
And there's just absolutely no service in there at all, which is nice kind of at the same time. But,
Yes.
and I helped backstage during the recital, one of the shows, because there's 2 shows.
Oh, uh-huh.
And you can't have your phone back there, for safety, because you're in changing rooms and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like disconnected completely
So
from
you
the
were,
world.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much off the grid like I was. So, I mean, I
Oh,
know we've seen more details come out about like Rock and Roller Coaster, and
mm-hmm.
those previews are coming out from people. Um, but
In the courtyard, the Walt
oh
Disney
yes,
Studios
uh-huh.
courtyard. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I was thinking of. Uh, yeah, the Rock and Roller Coaster looks kind of cute. It's really, the same, just with those darn Muppets.
Right.
Yeah, no, nothing crazy. Oh, I just got a notification we're live.
Oh,
It
look at
took
that.
that long. Oh, the biggest news. Have you seen this blowing up everywhere? There are churro waffles at the Spyglass Grill at Caribbean Beach.
No, but I just had churro waffles for the very first time.
Yeah. So this isn't even like in the main building of Caribbean Beach Resort.
Yeah.
It's like off in Trinidad section, which is where the Little Mermaid rooms are.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the nicer Little Mermaid rooms, the nicer ones.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, they have churro waffles. It's a I think part of the kids menu, but that's what everybody is. Bless you. Well, that's
Thank
what
you.
everybody is talking about. Um,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Oh,
and so it's gonna cause mass chaos at Caribbean Beach. These churro waffles, I feel
I'm
like.
sure it is. And with it being on the
Oh,
Skyliner, people are going to get there
yeah,
or want to
exactly.
get there. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Frank says, "Good evening. Go Phillies," because I went to the Pirates versus Phillies because he lives on one side of
Oh,
Pennsylvania, I live on the other. But
right.
I listen. I'm not like a pirate fan. I grew up like in Atlanta. Not grew up. I
Mm-hmm.
lived there for a few years, and I went to so many Braves games.
Uh-huh. That you're a Braves
So
fan?
I'm a fan of whoever. I
Yeah.
This is me because we had Phillies fans all around us because it was there was a lot of Phillies fans there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, And I kind of just am always in this mindset because I watch my kids baseball and I root for both teams kind of because I know kids on the other
Yeah.
team. And so I basically just root for both teams when I'm there.
Love it.
I don't care. But I do need to watch the replay because Pirates were robbed of a home run by a fan that reached over and caught it. And you're not supposed to do that, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
want to know if it was a Phillies fan or a Pirates fan.
Mm.
And I just thought it was funny that the Pirates were like booing like why can't I think of what they're called right now? The people that decide that.
Oh,
Not
like
referees, but
umps?
yes. They
Mm-hmm.
should be
Mm-hmm.
booing that fan. But I do want to
Yeah.
know if it's Phillies fan. I feel like that's not fair.
Yeah.
Anyways, that just was a all wicked tangent.
I love it. I'm
But
all,
that's why
listen,
Frank's saying
I'm
that.
all for a baseball tangent anytime, any place, anywhere. Um,
Yeah,
and
we're
y'all are lucky that you're not Chicago Cubs fans because then we would have to riot. But
no.
I'll allow
My
you to be
husband and I
Phillies
want to
fans.
go to all of the stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
And like we're not going to follow a team around to do that.
Yeah.
Because literally when we were in Detroit, my husband bought a Detroit Tigers hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's fine.
Yeah.
Uh so that's our goal. In fact, my kids' passports are getting here on Saturday, but if they
Mm-hmm.
would have gotten here sooner, we would have been at Toronto this weekend. And
Oh,
there's
uh-huh.
hotel rooms. I think I told you about this. That you just stay in the hotel room and it opens up
Yeah.
and you can see the field. That's what
Yep.
we want to do. So,
That'd be
but
so
yeah.
nice. That would
Yeah.
be so nice. Yeah, I'm a fan of baseball stadiums like in general. I think especially
Mhm.
the old like ballparks. The new ones are cool too, but yeah, like the old ones that are just like classic baseball. I was actually kind of perturbed when the Rangers went from their old school baseball stadium to the new one, but the new one's air conditioned, so I really can't complain. But because it
No.
just doesn't have the same like I don't know, America's pastime
Yeah.
vibes. And so that's why I love Busch Stadium because it still feels old school even though it was new in 20 years ago.
In 20 years.
In 20 years
No.
ago. I was like, I think their first season was 2006 maybe. Um I'm almost positive it was, but yeah. So I will yeah, we kind of have two teams. Like I say, I have an American League team and a National League team because I'm a
Yeah.
diehard Cardinals fan, always will be till my end of days. But now that we're here in Dallas, it just makes sense to be a Rangers fan and go see their games. And so,
Yeah.
yeah. So when you're ready to visit the Rangers, let me know. I'll
Yes,
host you
I
in my
will.
brand new guest room um,
Yes.
because we are officially like 2 weeks out from our move. And um, I'm not wearing my headphones tonight because I accidentally packed them and I'm not taking them out of a box. So, um, we will
No,
get
we
closer
absolutely
and
not doing
closer to
that.
this. It's just, no, once it's in a
So,
box, it stays there. It
that's
does not
right.
come out. So, well, yeah, let's just, I guess, dive into the topic, which is my cruise on the Disney Destiny. Um, I'm gonna preface this whole review
Oh
by
gosh.
saying we had, as a travel agent, I had the cruise of all cruises, in that I got to experience what happens when everything goes wrong. So now I get to tell everybody kind of all about it and how things work, which is great because that's, you want to know that your travel agent knows what to do. And that's the positive spin that I'm putting on this.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
like I was even messaging Stephanie the night before we got on the boat and I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know what's going to happen. Um, so unfortunately, my oldest did get sick, and he was sick for pretty much 3 out of the 4 days of the actual sailing, which is a total bummer. But as parents, your kids come first, and so you just kind of plan and change. But I'll give you the rundown, from my perspective and how the cruise went and what I thought. But please just take everything that I'm saying with a grain of salt because it's not the experience that I think most people get on Disney Cruise Line. So, yes. Um, so we actually flew into Fort Lauderdale 2 days before embarkation. So we had a day to relax at the resort and just kind of acclimate because I do think it would have been too much for my kids to go from like a travel day on one day and then embarkation day the next day. I was glad that we kind of had the day in between. And for reference, my kids are 2 and almost 5. Like he'll be 5 a month from today.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, we like I just felt like that was going to be the better move for our family. And then also we were meeting John's side of the family, so his parents and his sister, and so that gave us a little bit of extra time with them too, which was really nice. We ended up staying at the Fort Lauderdale um, Marriott Harbor Beach. And it was right there on the water, right on the beach, which was wonderful. The hotel was absolutely lovely. There was a ton of amenities. We ended up booking a cabana at the hotel, for our beach day, and I'm so glad that we had it. One, because it was just so nice to like not have to like gather up all the things to go to the beach. Like it was, we didn't have to bring, chairs or umbrellas or towels or like they had everything. And then they also had food service come right to the cabana, which was really cool. So we really enjoyed that. Plus, it gave my kids kind of a shady place to play. So Sam, my youngest, ended up being kind of afraid of the water and the sound that the ocean was making,
Yeah.
which is weird because that's the sound for his sound machine every night. But he was not interested in the actual ocean whatsoever.
Wow. Yeah.
And so that meant that he wanted to stay up on the beach. And unfortunately, that side of the, that side of the state gets, the sand gets so hot so quick. Like my parents live on the Gulf side and like we go to Siesta Key and that sand does not get hot. It's cool to the touch all day long. So I was really worried about that, but the cabana made it really nice. He got up there. I brought along some Hot Wheels tracks and he got to play. And so we ended up spending quite a bit of time there on the beach. And then we went up and got to take advantage of the pool. And it was super nice. That evening, we ended up just like ordering pizza and hanging in the hotel room. And I think this is where potentially my son got sick. But he had drank what I, after talking to my father-in-law, assume was tainted chocolate milk. So, he chugged it right when he woke up from his nap. And my father-in-law said that he had had some as well and that it tasted funny, so he stopped drinking it. But my son just drank the whole thing. So I think that's what happened. Um, we so he had a funky tummy. And so the next morning we got up, we checked in with Disney Cruise Line, which they make it super easy when you take their transportation. We were a little bit nervous because the process for that, if you've not done it, and I think maybe some of the other cruise lines might be this way too, but you actually leave your like luggage in your room. Like you don't take it down to them. That felt weird. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and but they were really great. When you check in, you tell them exactly what room you're in and how many pieces of luggage you have, and you use their own luggage tags. So that part was super, super smooth. And so we left the hotel or left the room, and we didn't see our luggage until it showed back up at at hi dad, he said I'm watching. So we didn't show, like, we didn't see our luggage again until it came onto our stateroom, which was super nice. So that part was super simple. Then we went down, we waited to board the Disney Cruise Line transportation, and when we went to get onto um, the boat, my son ended up having an accident in his shorts and was really uncomfortable, and that's where the funky tummy really started. And so we Disney Cruise Line employees were super great. He had an accident while we were in the like winding queue to go through security. And so I stepped out, asked them where the closest bathroom was. And unfortunately, it was on the other side of the terminal.
Oh my
And so
gosh.
the woman was like, she could see that I had a little one. And she said, just go around this corner, use the crew bathrooms. So we went over there, and he was able to use the restroom and got him cleaned up. And when we walked back, I assumed we were just going to have to get back in line. And she was like, just go over here to the priority boarding. So that was really nice. They were super great to kind of take care of us when they didn't have to. They could have just let us go through that line, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then because of that kind of delay, it ended up that we didn't have to wait around the terminal really at all. They were already boarding our group. I think we were group three. And so they were already up to like group four. And that's what we were talking about the other night, that it seems like your port arrival time is really what's kind of the more important part, because that's when they start letting you into the terminal itself. You have to line up outside the terminal if you show up before that. But once you're through security, you pretty much just get right on the boat. Or at least that's how it was in our experience. So we did see people waiting around the terminal. I assume that they were being called up kind of pretty much right after we were. Um, because John was saying it literally felt like they were like, okay, boarding groups 1 through 3, and then 1 through 4. And then all of a sudden it was like boarding groups 1 through 11. Like it was crazy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it made a big jump. So, but all of that went really smoothly. We get on the boat. Of course, Disney Cruise Line announces the families as you get on. So we got to hear, attention Disney Destiny, please welcome the Gockley family, which like even now gives me a little bit of goosebumps. Um, when we walked in, Captain Mickey was up on the balcony, and you can see the Black Panther statue. The Grand Hall was absolutely gorgeous, and beautiful. I mean, the whole ship really was beautiful. And there's just so much Disney like all around you. Like it was gorgeous. And so yeah, so we ended up going and checking out the kids club right away, getting the kids registered for both the nursery because Sam's not 3 yet. And then getting Russell signed up and checked in for kids club and getting his little band that goes on his magic band, so that he could be dropped off. And then after that, we went and had lunch up at the buffet. We tried to go to the dining room that was open, but they were already like at a 30-minute wait, so they were just directing everybody to the buffet. And I think that ended up working out pretty well because then Russell was crashing hard. So he ended up falling asleep on the chairs in the buffet and
Oh.
slept there. Because you can't get into your room right when you board the ship.
Yeah.
So we were waiting until, I think we waited until just about 2 o'clock, and then we thought, well, we'll just go check it out, see if they're ready. And they were, which was really great. So he probably slept for like 45 minutes there in the buffet. Obviously, he had no appetite. And so then we got to the stateroom. Everything seemed to be going okay. And then unfortunately, he did get sick once the boat pretty much started moving. So we went to the stateroom, checked it out, and then we went to muster, and then we went to the sail away party. And at the sail away party, I think once the boat started moving, that's when he started getting the kind of nauseous feeling from kind of having a sick tummy. And so he ended up falling asleep like on my husband's shoulder. We went back to the stateroom and he threw up when he woke up. So we knew that he was kind of in bad shape. And so it ended up that night. And I'm so bummed because the whole point of this ship was really for him. He loves Spider-Man.
Mhm.
And so that first night was unfortunately our Marvel night, Worlds of Marvel dinner, and he missed it.
Oh.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he stayed in the stateroom with his grandmother, who graciously offered to stay behind and hang out with him. And I think he pretty much slept the whole time we were gone at dinner, like the 2 hours. When we got back, though, he was feeling a lot better, enough that we had ordered room service and he actually ate some dinner, which was really
Oh.
good because he
Yeah.
really had not eaten anything at all that day. Um, so I felt better about that. He seemed to do fine the rest of the night. Um, and then that's when we went to get up the next morning. Our first like full day was our day at Lookout Point. Um, and we had a port adventure booked. So here's where I will say it gets a little bit tricky. And one of the things that I probably would not recommend for first time cruisers is to book a port adventure, honestly. I don't, I feel like there's a learning curve to how to experience and do the things that you want to do. And so, us having booked our port excursion or our port adventure, one of the things that he was really excited to do before we got on the ship was to go meet Spider-Man. And unfortunately, Spider-Man like that day was meeting he only met like once a day, which was kind of crazy, considering he's
Hmm.
the character on the back of the boat. But so that morning it was like, okay, well we'll go meet Spider-Man and then we'll get off the ship. Well, that lookout, if you're not familiar, Lookout Key has the big long pier. And so we knew it
Mhm.
was going to take us a minute to get down there. And so the timing ended up just not working out. Like we had to be off the ship with enough time to be able to check in for our port adventure. And so the only way that we could have met Spider-Man and would have been if we would meet him the second that he started meeting. And the line was already super long by the time we got down there. So, if you are wanting to meet characters, just make sure you line up probably 15, 20 minutes before the actual like meeting time starts. Um, so that kind of it ended up being okay because once he saw Spider-Man like physically there, he was actually too nervous to meet him. So,
Oh.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like, okay, well, and so we weren't going to push it. We are like, nope, no big
No.
deal. You can wave to him. That's totally fine. And he had actually seen Spider-Man from the balcony the day before, and they had a moment where they kind of like webbed each other, which was pretty cool. From a distance, so I think that was enough for him. We ended up going and doing the port excursion, which was really great. We did the family pirate adventure, um, and the cast members that like put it on or like they were really great. The whole premise is that you go on a essentially a treasure hunt and you find all the things that you would need as a pirate: a bandana, an eye patch, a sword, and then treasure at the end. And then a then you have like story time where they actually tell a pirate tale. It was really cool. um, and the whole thing lasted about 2 hours. Russell was pretty done with it at the very end of it, and Sam just really didn't quite know what to make of it all. Um, but it was still a great thing. The only thing I will say is that they had all the kids line up, and then they had a pirate jump out and go, "Arr!" And that scared my kids half to death. Like he was like, "Is that a real
Oh.
pirate? Is he gonna hurt me?" And I was like, "Oh no, buddy, like it's okay." Um, so if you have jumpy kids like me, maybe don't do that one. But other than that, it was fun. I think he just didn't get as involved or in it as in um, uh, he just wasn't as enthusiastic about it as I thought he would be, which could have been because he was feeling yucky. So, yeah. Um, at that point, or so then we get done with that. Oh, here's what was cool. That morning, the cast members found a sea turtle, like on the beach that had actually like been attacked by something. And so they had
Oh,
actually rescued the sea turtle. It was in a bin up on the beach, and they were gonna go release it in another area. And they had so, it was just like they were literally getting ready to go release it. So just like our little group that was there, got to see it. So they got to pet a sea turtle and see it up close,
cool.
which was really cool. And then they had the kids all name the sea turtle. They named the turtle Chocolate. So, that was really cute. And then they got to see some crabs and so like that was really cool. Um, but at that point, Russell was fighting off the tired meltdown. And so we ended up kind of walking around trying. That's the other thing I will say about Lookout Key is that it's not very easy to navigate in like if you're going from one part of the island to the other and you're not taking the tram. So we were trying to find my in-laws on the island and there was not great Wi-Fi to be able to like text back and forth to figure out where they were. Um, so it took us a minute to find them, and after all the walking and all of that, Russell was just done. And the moment we got on that tram, he passed out in my lap. So um, I was like, okay, good to know. We ended up going and grabbing some food from um, like the buffet that's up there by the pool, or on the pool deck. And honestly, that was probably some of the best food that I've ever eaten on a cruise ship, or on this cruise ship because it was just like, but they need a bigger line for pizza. They only had one pizza section, and you know I love pizza. So I was at like I had pizza every day. I have multiple photos of me eating pizza to prove it. But honestly, like they had barbecue, they had tacos, like it was soup. They had like a grill that had like burgers and corn dogs and just like everything that you could possibly want to eat, like at the ready, except for the pizzas. Like pizzas were always gone. There was always like a 5 to 10 minute wait and a line. So they need to make that bigger. Maybe it's just because I love pizza, but that's my opinion. Um, and then, of course, we went back. The kids had a nap. We got ready. We had Pride Lands that night, which was the dinner show, like dinner and a show. The music was awesome. The fact that there are live performers in the middle of the restaurant, super cool. Unfortunately, they call them storytellers and they try to tell stories, but it's so loud in the restaurant that you really can't hear them. So the music you can hear just fine. We had a table that was also kind of near where the waiters are clearing plates and doing, so it was a little bit louder where we were. But even then, just like the noise level in the restaurant itself with everybody like talking and conversing, I felt bad for the actors that were putting on the
Yeah.
show, like it's, I wish, I don't know if there was some way because they would come out and they'd perform for maybe like 5 to 7 minutes and then they'd go and have a break and then they come back for like another 5 to 7 minutes type of thing. And so it was almost like if you can't be quiet for like 5 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
um so that was a little bit rough there. The food there was also African inspired, so for people who are not like super adventurous eaters, not that there wasn't still stuff, but they there were kind of limited options from that perspective. I had the steak and the potato, and I will say, like, they just gave me a baked potato on a plate. I was like, and there's no salt, no butter, no pepper, no nothing. I was like, this is
Oh,
weird.
really?
Yeah, it was super weird. Um, so I was like, but it was the bland option on the menu, so I really can't complain. I knew what I was getting when I did it. And they don't claim to be, it doesn't claim to be like a loaded potato at all. So it literally just says like baked potato. Um, so yeah, um, but I really did enjoy that concept. Um, the next day we had Castaway. And here's what I will say. So right before Pride Lands, before I get into Castaway, right before Pride lands, when Russell woke up from his nap, he had actually had an accident while he was sleeping, and then I gave him some medicine, and he immediately threw it up. And at that point, I was like, we are on 2 days of vomiting, like really weirdly. I needed to know that my kid was okay. So we had a visit down at medical. I ended up calling medical on their non-emergency line and kind of explaining what was going on, and they said we would recommend that you bring him in just so we can observe him, see what's going on. And transparently, as someone who has spent a bunch of money to be on a cruise, I got a little bit nervous that they would isolate us or that that would change our experience. But I knew at the end of the day, like, I needed to know my kid was okay. I also don't want to get out on the ship and like infect a bunch of people if he's got like an actual stomach flu, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but at the same time, it was one of those like, do we go? Do we not go? Because it wasn't happening the entire time. You know, most people with the stomach flu, you are sick, sick. And
Mm-hmm.
that really wasn't the case with Russell. So he was fine in the morning. When he got tired, he wasn't fine, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that being said, we called medical. They said we would recommend, but just and they were very upfront. This is how much it would cost. This is what could happen, like what you should expect if they determine that he does have some kind of stomach bug. You'll be in isolation for 24 hours. Like, they were very transparent with us. And then they left it up to us whether or not we wanted to go down. Um, at that point, I kind of looked at John and I said, let's just take him down and we'll see where we're at. Kind of preparing for it to go either way.
Yeah.
So we go, we get checked down. I'm talking to her, kind of explaining everything that's been going on. And then they really did, the doctor that was on board really gave him a good, like, look over. You know, she did all the belly stuff, listened to all the sounds, kind of, and then she even asked him to tell her what was going on and how he felt. And so, um, and at the end of it, she said he's too healthy for me to think that he's in something in isolation. Like, if he has diarrhea, it's just got to work its way out. But she didn't think he had any kind of stomach bug. She ended up giving us Zofran for the nausea, which helped immensely, and a Pedialyte popsicle, which, if you're a parent, you know that seems to be a miraculous cure for everything. And then she ended up giving us some Pedialyte, like the powdered drink mix that we could put into his water so that he stayed hydrated. Um, and then after that, we had zero issues with him, as far as like the tummy stuff goes and the rest of it. So the Zofran apparently made all the difference in the world. And he felt a lot better that night. He was able to make it through dinner without falling asleep. Like, it was so great to see like things turning around, but I was super cautious going into the next morning. So um, the next day was Castaway, which I absolutely loved. Castaway, in my opinion, is the superior island of the two. Um, just the amenities, or just the way that the whole area is laid out, made a lot more sense. Um, on Castaway, there are two family beaches. You can choose to walk to the first one or take the tram. The tram also stops at the second one. We chose to get off at the second one because that's where they had the um, like splash pad play area
Mm-hmm.
and the water slide, as well as like the like swimming area there on the beach. And I'm super glad that we did that. Excuse me. Um, it ended up being a lot less crowded, like further into the morning. And I think it's just because everybody gets off the ship and goes to that first island, or first beach on the island. So um, we ended up having a good time there, and just it was so nice. Like, this is why I will say, like, I don't think first time cruisers need to do a port adventure, because it was nice to just relax and do whatever my kids, like, let them lead how they were feeling.
Mm-hmm.
They loved swimming in the ocean. Russell they have life vests everywhere, even though we've had Russell in swim classes. Like, I felt totally comfortable with him in the water. Um, Sam absolutely refused to wear a life vest. Shocker. And so he was just attached to a hip until at one point I was sitting in the water. He had gone up on the beach to get toys and then just saw me and thought, I'm just going to go right in and just face in the water. And I was like, you okay, bud? You good? He said, yeah, good. I was like, okay, great. Like, just, yeah, but full on, just right on in. And I said, this is why I was panicked about you falling in the water. Um, so yeah, but we absolutely loved Castaway. We were able to have lunch there that day. Russell did end up falling asleep in my lap on that like on the at the picnic tables, and I was just like, "There's no tired like Disney tired for this kid." But yeah, so we ended up going back to the boat after that, which I'm so glad. Like it worked out perfect timing for that because he was able to go back, take a good nap. Everybody was rested, and then it was pirate night that night. Loved pirate night. Russell was super pumped for his makeover at Bibbidi Boppidi Boutique. He picked out the spooky pirate outfit, um, and it comes the package. Listen, you guys, I probably spent more money than I should have on this. Um, but it was the first time he was excited to do anything this whole
Yeah.
trip. And I was like, if you're pumped, if that's what you want, I'm doing it. I don't care, whatever, we're going to do it. And so his package came with the full costume and the accessories, a belt, a sword, uh, just all sorts of things, and a hook hand, like a hat. It was too much. And then a full face of like painted face, makeup, you name it.
Oh my goodness.
Um, my kid is so like wishy-washy about sometimes he loves face paint, sometimes he hates it. So he was looking at the face paint options and he ended up picking the one um that would have had more face, like they would have done some eyeliner and stuff. He just wanted the small anchor tattoo on his cheek. That's all he wanted. And I was like, fine by me, kid. If that's what you want,
Yeah.
that's what you get. He was so pumped to have it. So excited when he got out of there. He was walking around in his costume, so pumped. He was like, Dad's not even gonna know it's me. And I was like, he is definitely not gonna know it's you. You look so different. Like, and he still remembers the pirate name that they gave him on the ship, which is really cute. So he was all dressed up. We all got dressed up. It was super cute. One of my favorite photos from the entire evening. We all went to the stairs and got a photo of everybody in their pirate attire. Um, they do. You visit. You go back or you like double back at a restaurant for pirate night. So we were back at Pride Lands that evening. No show. And a different menu than the night before because it's all pirate themed. That night they had, was that the night we had the crab cakes? I think it was. If there's a crab cake on your pirate night, order it. It's delicious. I should have just ordered four of them and had them as my meal because it was so good. Um, and then, uh, and then right after that, we ended up going down to, so for Pirate Night, they have two parties on the ship. They have one that is more kid friendly. It's a Mickey and Minnie's kind of party. And then they have the one in the very evening, started at 10:15. My old lady heart was like, what are we even doing with our lives at 10:15? Um, and that one is the one with the fireworks. So we ended up going to the deck party with Mickey and Minnie, and they sing pirate songs and they have like a pirate challenge. Um, and it was a super cute little party. The kids loved it. Sam said that going to the party was his favorite part of the whole
Oh.
cruise. Um, he sat on our shoulders and was like, "That's Mickey. That's Donald." Like it was so cute. And then we ended up going then back up to the room, letting the kids wind down. And at that point I had actually crawled into bed and I was like, I'm gonna make a mistake if I stay here any longer. And could have fallen asleep, but I was like, nope, we're gonna get up, we're gonna see those fireworks. And here's what I will say about that. Fireworks at sea, super cool. However, it is a rockin' pirate party. Here's my hot take. I was expecting like rock versions of Disney songs, and it was not. It was just like classic rock songs, like I Want to Rock and Roll All Night. Um, and so, I mean, that's fun, don't get me wrong, but not the like Disney magic that I'm used to, especially with fireworks. Like, the only part of the whole, they play the live music to the fireworks show, and that's cool. But like a very small snippet of the entire song that they do is like the pirates theme, right? That like
Yeah.
super familiar. And so otherwise it was just like regular rock music, and I was like, this is not very Disney magic-y. I'm not gonna lie. So I was a little disappointed about that. And maybe that was just me not having the right expectations, but I was kind of expecting it to be more piratey. I don't know.
Yeah, I would have thought so too.
Yeah. So, but still very cool. I love a good fireworks show. So, but then the second the fireworks were over, I was like, peace, I'm going to bed. Um, and I'm so glad that I did because um, in the staterooms, they have you get so they turn it over for you, which I think is
Mm-hmm.
the same way on most cruise lines, right? So at night they pull down the bunk from the ceiling and then they make up the couch bed and all of that. Well, Sam finally figured out on the last kind of night there that or second to last night that he could get out of his bed. Sam is still in a crib here at home, and so I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning to a Sam in my face going, "Mom, Mom." I was like, right, you can get out of bed. Okay, cool. So he was sleeping with us in the queen size bed there for the rest of that night. So I was like, this is going to be a long day this next day. Our at sea day went a lot better. Russell finally felt better, and I had a handle on how to maneuver and check the app and figure out what we were going to do. And
Yeah.
I felt like I had finally gotten a hold of like, okay, if we want to go to this, we need to be at this point here. And so, and it was the one day that I didn't really have anything scheduled. I had one thing scheduled. Um, I'll tell you about it in a minute. But we had booked Sam in for the nursery on that day, and we were going to send Russell to the kids club. He was finally feeling better. We said, "Okay, we're going to do it. You had a good day yesterday, so we did it in the morning, which I'm super glad because he was energized." And so he went down to the kids club, was so excited to go down the slide and in, and he was totally cool. It was awesome. It makes me really have wanted. It makes me sad that he didn't get to experience that on the other days. Right
Mm-hmm.
before his pirate makeover, we did go. He was like, "I want to go to the play place," and I was like, "Well, you have to go by yourself." And then it ended up being an open house time, so I was able to go with him, which I think kind of helped too. He still got to go do it, and I was still able to watch him. And yeah, so anyway, so we dropped them off at 9. We spent a little while kind of walking around the ship, just exploring it a little bit more, just us as adults. Then we went up to the Rose, ordered some drinks. No sooner did I order my drink, and we get it, we cheers, I take a big swig, and I get a message from the kids club. Russell would like to be picked up. I followed immediately by Samuel is unsettled. We're doing our best. And I was like, okay, great. So I left the rest of the crew at the bar and went to go pick up my kids. By the time I got there, Russell seemed to be fine. He was kind of surprised to see me, so I don't really know if there was a miscommunication, but he said that Mickey and Minnie came down to the kids club and they had a whole dance party, and he was so excited for it. Um, I was like, okay, that's cool. So the original plan for the day was to drop the kids off from 9 until 11. Mickey, however, was meeting at 10:45, and I was like, that sucks. I was like, but we can go get him early because the other time that Mickey was meeting was at 3 p.m. And I had signed John and I up for the Imagineering the Destiny, which was the whole behind the scenes, like Imagineering tour that was going to be given. And so I was super excited for that tour. Um, And then when I realized, oh, actually the kids are going to be not done with their time frame yet, so I made the choice to cancel the tour, and knowing I was going to have to take the kids, because the thing that I really wanted to do was get a photo with Russell and Mickey. We missed Russell's pre-K graduation for the
Oh
cruise.
yeah, that's
The
right.
school was nice enough to give me his like cap and a shirt and all that stuff, and so we brought it with us. I had it in the backpack, just because I wasn't sure when we'd be back that day, and so I ended up canceling that and knowing we were going to go see Mickey at 3 o'clock. Well, because Russell wanted to be picked up early, we were able to be right there in the main hall, when Mickey, like right before Mickey was meeting. And so we actually jumped in line with like the perfect amount of time. It all worked out that like I was able to leave there. I picked up the kids. We got in line. They were just finishing their drinks, so they came back and met us. And then I was like super bummed. I went to try to go book it again because I already canceled it and it was gone. So I know I was like, that sucks. But but it was great because we still got to do kind of everything that we wanted to do that morning. We ended up, I can't remember, I think we went back to Festival of Foods for lunch that day. Um, Russell, like I said, finally had an appetite again. He was hungry. The kids, there was a kid walking around and he had put a duck up on the railing next to Sam, and Sam couldn't quite reach it. But the kid was like looking like, "Are you going to help him? Are you going to like?" He was hiding the duck, but it was in plain sight for Sam, and Sam was so excited. And we just had a lot of those kind of moments throughout the ship where people just that day were like walking around and handing things out because it was the last day, and so the kids got all sorts of goodies that day just walking around the ship. Um, and then that evening, we had 1923, hands down the best restaurant on the ship. Best restaurant. Um, Granted, we didn't do Palo or the adults only stuff, um, but it was so freaking good.
What
I
side did you
ended up,
get?
we got
Walt
the
or
Roy,
Roy?
we got Roy, which is fine.
Wow. The shade. No, I'm just kidding.
No, seriously though, I was like, come on, not Walt, but it was fine. Weird, but whatever. Yeah, they both look the same. I was able to
Yeah.
walk into Walt. There's nothing any more crazy than the other two. It all
No.
looks the same. So I was fine with it. Um, but there was a soup at Worlds of Marvel that I loved. Absolutely loved. It was like a potato soup. It had some kind of sausage in it. It was delicious. And I looked at my waiter and I said, "Can you bring me this soup?" And he said, "Yeah, it might be a little while longer because we've got to bring it down from." I said, "I don't care. Just bring me the soup." And so he was like, "Absolutely." So I ordered the soup that I wanted. I had a delicious filet with like a bacon wrapped green bean. I was like, I could have just ate 7 of those little tiny packages of green beans wrapped in bacon. They were so delicious. Um, and then they had this amazing dessert for dinner, or for dinner, amazing dessert. It was a some kind of sundae. It had a brownie in it. It was so good. I loved it. The kids were able to order pizza, and they loved that. Like it was, I think everybody really also got to dress up a little bit fancier than we had for the other ones. It was a good way to like, I'm glad the rotation ended up that we had that one last because I think that just kind of made the evening for me. Um, and then I finally got to go to trivia.
Yay!
I know, right? Um, I was really nervous. I messaged Stephanie about this. I was like,
Yeah.
no one wants to go to trivia with me, and I feel like I'll be pretty good at it. Um, so we I ended up actually getting to do trivia twice. At one point on our at sea day, when the kids were feeling pretty good, and I think we had just woken up from nap actually. And there was a Wakanda show happening down in the main hall, and so at that same time, and this is where, well, I'll get into it in a minute, but at that same time, there was a Pixar trivia happening over in the Sanctum Lounge. And I kind of wanted to do both. And so my in laws were like, we'll take the kids, you go do trivia, Have fun. We'll see you later. And so we went and did trivia. We got 19 out of 20.
Oh, wow.
I know. We would have had all 20. What is the main food that the ants collect for the grasshoppers in It's a Bug's Life?
Oh, God.
Seeds, grains, fruits. I forget the last one. Seeds, grains, or fruits. Let's just go with that. Seeds, grains, or fruits. Right. Okay.
Fruits. I don't
Okay.
know.
I said grains because I remember a specific scene in which Flick has his little invention and it's got the grain on the back of it and it shakes the stuff off into the pile. Or flings it or does something. And I was like, it's grains. It's grains. No, wrong. It's seeds.
Seeds.
So now you know that for the rest of your life and you'll never forget it. Or at least I will. Because had we gotten that right, we would have been in a 3-way tiebreaker. And here's what would have happened. They asked how many sounds does the prospector have according to his box? Like how many phrases does he have?
Oh.
And I was like, so I said 10. And the team that got it right, they were off by one number and the right number was 9. And I
Oh,
was like,
wow.
man, I would have had that silicone medal in the bag, man. Um, so yeah, I was perturbed that we didn't win that one. We didn't even come close to winning on the Disney general knowledge thing
Oh, gosh.
trivia later that evening. Um, Turns out I have a very specific set of skills. It's not just like general Disney knowledge. Um, it was level 2, so it was supposed to be harder. But then there was like, what kind of animal is Jiminy Cricket? And I was like, really? But then there was also one like who voices all of the Simba characters.
I
Name
only
all
know
of the
Jonathan
actors that
Taylor
voiced
Thomas.
Simba. Jonathan Taylor Thomas,
That's the only
Matthew
one I know.
Broderick, and then somebody else. Um, I forget who, but he does a scene. So there's the young Simba, old Simba, and then singing Simba. And you would have gotten a point for all 3, like 1 point for
Yeah.
each that you got. And all I knew was Matthew Broderick, so I forgot about Jonathan Taylor Thomas. But yeah, so that was not my finest moment, but also it was me and John, and he was zero help. John's contribution to trivia was saying the wrong answer out loud to distract other people. Like that's his.
Okay.
He's like, if I don't know it, I don't know it. That's yeah. So but also I'm pretty sure we were in there. Like I think of myself as a Disney nerd, and I know like super random. I think my subset is I know a lot about the parks and I know a lot about the company, but I don't know anything else about anything else. Um,
I kind of feel
so
the same. Yeah.
right, like it's like
Like
weird.
deep movie knowledge, I'm just not gonna know.
No, no. Mm-mm.
Uh,
One of them was what day is I think it's called like Topsy Turvy Day or whatever it is, the Hunchback of Notre Dame. They were like, "What day is that?" And I was like, "Or what is the date for it?" I don't know. Uh, so we said like May 6th or something like that, and turns out it's like January 6th. I was like, "Who fucking knows that? No one knows that. That's weird." People knew it. I didn't know it, but yeah. So turns out I'm not that great at that. Um, but I got some popcorn, had some fun. Um, and then you you have to be ready. We didn't like for the disembarkation, debarkation. Um, you have to have your bags that you want assistance with taking off the ship that you're not going to physically carry off the ship yourself. You have to have those out the night before. And so we had to get all packed and ready, and so we didn't end up staying out too late that night. And then also your breakfast, if you're on the early dining time, is like at 6:45 the next morning.
oh my gosh.
Uh-huh. And so we originally were just going to go up to the buffet, but then we said no, it'll be much more relaxed to just go and sit with our wait staff. And so we were back at 1923 for breakfast that morning. Um, and then you wait for your character to be called. They give you luggage tags. You wait for that character to be called, and then you can exit the ship, pick up your luggage, and go. Um, we ended up I was able, and so our flight was not until later that evening, because I didn't want to push it too close with an early
Yeah.
flight. And so the only other option would have been a flight like right at noon. Now that I know how smoothly it goes to get off the ship,
It's
um,
so close in Fort
so
Lauderdale.
close.
It's like a
Yeah, I
hop,
was
skip,
like,
and a jump.
yeah, I was like, we probably could have made that flight, no problem. And so I do regret not doing that, but this is hindsight, right?
That's
And
right.
so but what I ended up doing instead was actually booking a day pass for the other resort that Disney partners with. And that resort also offers
Smart.
they also offer day rooms. So we were able to have a room from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And so we were able to go, we could use the pool and all of that kind of stuff, which was awesome. That day pass or the day room includes passes to the pool or access to the pool. And so I ended up booking that, and we ended up just hanging out in the room because everybody was exhausted and kind of having some lunch there, and not getting in the pool. But we absolutely could have with the timing and everything. My kids were just happy and content to just like sit in the air conditioning and watch TV. And I was like, I'm fine with this. This is great.
Hmm.
Um, Aside from the fact that I think by the end of this trip, they wanted to rip each other's faces off. And then I wanted to rip their faces off, because of the face rippingness of it all, because they were just like super sibling rivalry at each other's throats. Like we were in the terrible twos, and so um, at that point, I just was like, "Get me home." Our flight ended up being delayed on our way home, and so
Of course.
we, yeah, right when we're exhausted and just ready to be done. My kids are tired. They're also hungry. I'm tired of paying $17 for a snack.
Hmm.
So, I will say like it if you can do the earlier flight, just get your butt home. We didn't end up getting home until about 10:30 that night. And
Wow.
so yeah, and both kids were like exhausted and just completely beat. And so yeah. Um so overall, we had some special circumstances that contributed to like this feeling of not this being my favorite trip I've ever been on.
Hmm.
Um, the Disney magic is definitely there, but you kind of have to work for it, in my opinion, at least. You have to be able
Okay.
to. There, there were things that the thing that bothered me the most, right, is that, and I understand why it happens, but you cannot see the daily activities until you get connected to the ship's onboard
Hmm.
Wi-Fi. So there is no like pre-planning, which makes it hard when there are things that you do want to pre-plan, Bippity Boppity Boutique, special dining reservations like Palo and the rest of it. Um, I or like the port adventures or the special tours, it's hard because then you have to make the choice of, do I do the thing that I pre-booked or do I do the thing that I kind of came here for, right? Like the Spider-Man example was a good one, I think, in that like we could not have done both, so we kind of had to make a choice, and that gets a little bit trickier, to kind of navigate. And I feel like that's where it also, at least for us being parks people, we're used to just kind of like walking down Main Street, instantly feeling that magic. Whereas, like,
Yeah.
had it not been for all the decor around us, if you're not actively trying to do the character meets, going to the activities, being there for whatever is happening on deck or like the movies, and it could have been any other cruise line, if that makes sense. So, like, for us who were kind of tied to our stateroom for a while, like, it really could have been any other cruise line because there
Yeah.
wasn't, you know, um, that kind of thing happening. So, will I do Disney Cruise Line again? Probably, because I'm a Disney person. Would I choose Disney Cruise Line over a parks trip? For me, I don't think so. Like it just didn't hit home. John and I were saying like we didn't have like the giggle inducing goosebump giving moment on the ship, which is not to say that it doesn't happen. Um, but you have to be out of your stateroom for that to happen. And and we were kind of tied to that this trip. And then you just kind of have to plan for it. So um, that but all that to be said, like the Disney level of customer service was
Mm-hmm.
present throughout. Like our servers were great. I cannot say enough about Nicoya, our stateroom like attendant. She was amazing. The towel animals on the bed every night. Also her having to deal with like the accidents and the vomit and the other things that she like I just felt so bad for her. But then she also was like she checked in with us every morning when we saw her walking down the hall and every evening when we left or got back and um like she forget guest services. I just asked her my questions because she was there and she knew all the answers. And
Yeah.
so it was like she was absolutely wonderful. It kind of felt like having like I don't know, like a grandma or an aunt who just like looks in on you. She also decorated. It was our we had put that we were celebrating our anniversary, so she put little like doves and rose petals on the bed for us. And then that same
Aw.
night, she got the kids' cars sheets and put them on their bed. And so like it was, it yeah, she was just wonderful. So the Disney magic is there. It's there in different ways. And then if you put yourself out there, if you go and do the activities, I think you would have a different experience. I think we were just kind of limited a little bit on our trip.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah. But, we it would have been the same if we were at a resort on Disney property. We still would have been going, like it still would have been a different vacation than we had originally envisioned, and that's the
Oh,
life you
for
live with
sure.
kids. And so I was just glad to see like everything went smoothly, and even when it didn't go smoothly, I would not have wanted to be on I think any other cruise line with a sick kid. So I'll
Oh,
take it.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. Now, did you say what stateroom you were in? You were in a balcony? Or were you
Yes, we had a deluxe family ocean view room,
with
which is the one
veranda?
that
Sorry.
yes, with
Yeah.
the veranda. So yeah, we were in that stateroom. We also had a connecting stateroom to my in-laws. We were on deck 8 in midship. So ours was if you're following me on social media, you'll see a room tour for 8094 was ours. So we had the connecting staterooms, and she unlocked the doors, and then there's also a door on your balcony that connects the two rooms. So we had
Yeah.
one bigger balcony for the trip, which was really nice. Yeah.
Good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And we were also on port side, so like we got to see the ship pull out and pull in, which was really cool. Highly recommend being on that side of the ship um, because, yeah, you get to see that kind of stuff, which was nice.
Okay, if you were planning on booking another Disney cruise line, what ship would you do next?
I think I would probably do one of the older ships,
Mm-hmm.
um, Magic Dream, because,
Fantasy.
yeah, fantasy. I feel like I would, from what I've heard, things tend to feel a little bit bigger on those ships because they're not cramming as much in. Um, I think. But I mean, there's the Wish clips or the Wish class ships are just beautiful.
They
Not
are.
that the other ones aren't, but I think I
No.
would probably do one of those to experience that. Also, I think that's the kind of ship that sails out of Galveston, which means I don't have to pay for a flight or a room the night before to get there. So I would probably do, and I forget which one sails out of there right now. But that's probably what I would do next time.
Yeah, that would be great for you. The
Hmm.
only downside is when they sail out of Galveston, they're not stopping at their
Right.
private islands. But you've already gone to both. So,
Exactly. Yeah. And to be
yeah.
honest, I think the next time, and I did say that to John too, the next time I do it, I would do another port day, that is not a private island because at some point you like, especially for us who had a beach day the day before,
Yeah.
it just becomes a third beach day. You know what I mean? Like even though it is a Disney island, it's still a third beach day.
Yeah.
And I could go to my parents for that. So I'm not,
Yeah. No,
like
I get ya.
yeah, I think next time, and now that we have passports and stuff, like I would easily say, yeah, let's go do something else. I don't know that I would do Nassau, but, I might do like St. Martin or something like that. So Cozumel. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because now on your, where were your port days on your cruise?
Just Nassau and Perfect Day at Coco Cay.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I think I would switch that up. The private islands are great. Oh, the other issue I had though with the private islands, no food is served until 11:30.
Yeah.
I'm like, my kids and it was on me. Again, the choices I make. I
No, I
forgot the
get ya.
snacks on board the ship. So, Sam was screaming for snacks at like 10:30 and I was like, I got nothing. Like, and I'm not trying to
Got
feed
nothing.
you ice cream at 10:30 in the morning. Um, so, yeah.
No, I feel ya.
Like I was like,
Um,
certainly they have like a Goofy Candy Company something or a chips somewhere, but they did not. No. Yeah. So, but I still loved it. I still loved it. Like I know Frank said like Marvel Day at Sea was awesome. He said um that he had ridden or they like he rode the elevator with Spider-Man and then he walks around the ship, the whole crew. Like I would want to do, and I'd probably want to do one of those, like a Halloween time, a Marvel Day, Pixar Day, one of those. I think just to kind of break it up and have some variety.
yeah.
That would be fun. Also, heck yeah, riding an elevator with Spider-Man, I'd take it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I mean, we didn't, because we were kind of stuck to the stateroom and doing shifts, like we didn't get to do DeVille's or the Haunted Mansion bar. I did go in Haunted Mansion bar, very tiny, very little seating.
Hmm.
We were able to go to Cask and Cannon, and we ended up making friends. I will say that there is a camaraderie and just like the people on a Disney cruise, like everybody was so friendly and wonderful and understanding. Like if my kid was running amok in the hallway or um but we
Running
ended up
amok.
making friends with the people next to us. They ordered wings and they didn't finish their wings. They were like, because we were like, oh man, those wings smell so good. And they were like, do you want some? We were like, no, no, you eat your wings. And when they were done, they still had like three wings left over and they were like, here, we're giving these to you. And I was like, ah, yes, this is awesome. Um, but yeah, they were parents also out for the evening and yeah. Also, they have great laundry on board, so you wouldn't have to overpack like I did. You can do laundry. Um,
Like
yeah.
me, I love to do laundry on vacation, apparently.
I mean, I guess so. You would have loved it. There were so many laundry machines. It smelled wonderful. Yeah. They had a hand washing like station for like hand washed items. They
Yeah, yeah,
had
yeah.
pull down irons. It was the whole thing. Yeah. It was awesome. I went back twice.
Ooh, is
I
that your
know.
favorite place on the ship?
It was definitely my husband's. Um, he had had a couple of beers, and then we went and did laundry, and he was so happy. I think he was just overstimulated, to be honest, and it was like the quietest place on the ship. But when we got out of there, he was ready to buy more pen packs, and I was like, heck yeah.
Heck yeah. Drink another one.
Yeah, I was like, can I
Same.
get you more refills, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Nice. No, I feel like your poor family needs like a really good vacation without anyone getting sick. And
Hmm.
I feel like this is like two in a row. I mean, I know you had some smaller trips in there where it was fine,
Yeah.
but I feel like, was it
Yeah.
your vacation last year to Florida, kind of?
Hmm. Yep. That
You
one
didn't
got
drive
jacked.
home?
yeah, we had to drive home, and that was insane. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are owed a really good trip. That's
Yes.
just
Yeah. Here's to hoping my husband listens to the end of this podcast because he put himself to bed already. But
yeah, no.
yeah,
You are.
yes, I agree. We do. But we just bought a house, so, or we're buying a house next Friday. So it'll be a minute before we take another big vacation. And I'm pretty sure it won't
Yeah.
be a Disney vacation because this one might have done him in. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel ya. Feel ya.
Yeah, we'll see. We're going to the lake, and so we'll have, yeah, a few, but we have other big things happening this year. Like, we're buying a house, my sister's getting married, um,
Yeah.
so it'll be it'll be fun.
Yeah,
And
for
yeah,
sure.
and yeah, we have other fun things coming up too. So Russell starts kindergarten in the fall, and my sister comes here for her bachelorette trip, which will be fun. She's also coming in a couple weeks to help us move. Like, I'll spoil
Lucky
you on your
her.
bachelorette. Yeah, I was like, I'll spoil you on your bachelorette if you come take care of my kids while we move.
yeah, that's right.
Um, yeah, but yeah. All in all, it was good. I definitely don't regret it. I think I will do another Disney cruise. I don't know if it was for like if my husband would do it, but um,
Really.
yeah. And but talking to the kids, like that's the thing I keep saying. Like Russell says his favorite parts of the shit, like his favorite parts of the whole thing was um, meeting Mickey Mouse, and I'm like, okay, cool. Seeing Spider Man, going to the kids club. I'm like, he has no idea that he missed half this cruise.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
you know, so and I'll take that.
Sure.
I won't turn that down. So we've got coming up a couple of fun episodes. We have a unhinged episode where we are gonna go through and talk about the best value resorts. We have that one coming up.
Okay.
Um, and I know you have your favorite, and I've never stayed at one, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And then it's in a weird series of turn of events, we have another kind of like resort focused episode coming up where we are debating which is better, Caribbean Beach Resort or Coronado Springs. I know that's coming up soon.
Now there's churro waffles in a mix.
I know, right? I'm already like, well, I think you might have this one in the bag. I'm not gonna lie. This is one I don't necessarily feel strongly about, but we'll see. I'll make my case. Who knows? I'll research rabbit hole it and
yeah.
find some reason to think this resort is amazing. But and then after that, we're deep diving Cinderella's Royal Table, where we get some history, which we already did a little bit of, and maybe I'll bring back the photo of me dining there in my earliest days. Um, and then we'll decide on that one if we would change it, which I have a feeling we just might. So, if,
Okay.
yeah.
If it were up to us.
Well, you'll just have to listen. Nope, nope, that's not it. There it goes.